Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Not Move podcast. I hope everybody had a great All Star weekend, All Star week, All Star break. Got a lot of baseball on today. It is Friday, July 18th through 4:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, the first thing I like to do is go over weather. Weather can impact baseball games very much. All right. So, White Sox at Pittsburgh. I'm reading rotogrinders.com/weather/MLB here. White Sox at Pittsburgh, a few spotty showers. The chances of something being heavy enough for a delay and for that particular shower ending up over the ballpark are slim. So that game looks good to go. This looks like the most questionable game in the air right now is that Padres at Washington game. Right now, they're saying that some models show early showers in the game, potential late storms. But I would keep an eye out on that game specifically, Padres and Washington Nationals, Yankees and Braves. A little cluster of showers and storms around early could cause a brief late start or an early in-game delay. But they project that this game will play. Baltimore and Tampa Bay Rays as well. It's worthy of a pre-game radar check, they're saying, but storms should stay far enough to not be a problem. And then Minnesota and Colorado Rockies, some showers around early. A brief late start wouldn't be surprising, but that game looks good to go as well. Now, we talk about weather a lot. Baseballs do tend to travel further in humid conditions, and wind speeds as low as 5 miles per hour can add about 20 feet of extra travel distance. That's from MLB.com. 10 plus mile per hour wind speeds can significantly alter a fly ball's path. All right, so we're looking for games that maybe have 5, 10 miles per hour wind. I usually look for 10. So I'm looking at these games right now. I'm looking at swishanalytics.com. I think they do a good job at easily showing the wind direction and the wind speed. It's pretty easy on the eyes. That's what I like to use for the wind. Looks like 8 miles per hour to left center field in that Detroit at Texas game. Other than that, there doesn't look like there's really any significant wind, and even that isn't too significant, but it could have an impact for sure. All right, moving on from weather, let's get into the good stuff. I also just want to mention real quick that sometimes you guys might hear me refer to average walks per 9 innings. So anything above 3.5 is considered to be high, and anything 4 or higher is a significant concern. And then home runs, average home runs allowed per 9 innings, anything above 1 is worth looking at. So the Yankees and Angels had some projected starting pitchers today. I just want to cover that real quick, and then we'll get into our first game here. The Yankees and Angels looks like they're gonna both have bullpen games today. Angels, Zephyr John pitching. It looks like he's projected to start for the Angels. I thought it was going to be Soriano. So, and then Yankees, I thought it was going to be, that the lefty Fried, Fried. Looks like Brubaker is going to be starting in that game, and it looks like it's going to be a bullpen game for the Yankees as well. Now, the Angels, the Angels have the third worst bullpen ERA in baseball right now, and then the Yankees are below average as well. They rank 20th, so they're below average with that bullpen ERA. First game that we have on today's slate, we got the White Sox at the Pirates. These teams have not played each other this season. As you guys know, I like to look at run line trends. I don't see any significant advantage for either team when it comes to run line trends. The biggest advantage I would say is for the White Sox here. They're 36 and 28 after a loss on that run line, which ranks 11th best in baseball. So we got Cannon, right-handed pitcher, versus Falter, left-handed pitcher. Cannon hasn't pitched against Pittsburgh this season. He's got that 3.4 average walks per 9 innings. So, like we just stated, 3.5 or greater is something to really look out for. His is right about there, 3.4. Now, from my understanding, the White Sox are not a top 10 team when it comes to walks drawn per game. If they were, I would really look into that. But they could get walked a few times in this game. Pittsburgh, excuse me, Pittsburgh is not a top 10 team when it comes to team walks per game. And in fact, we can look to see what they are ranked. They're ranked 20th, so below average in drawing walks as a team per game. So yeah, Pittsburgh could get walked here or there, but if they were a top 10 team and drawing those walks, then I'd really be concerned a little bit for the White Sox here. Average pitch count for Cannon, it's been 88 this year, 83 in his last 5 games. So I could see that 17th ranked Chicago White Sox bullpen ERA get a little bit of work today. Now, the White Sox are 3-6 when Cannon pitches on the road this season. However, I know they do have a losing record, but they won all of those games, those 3 games that they did win, by 4+ runs. And they lost 5 games by 2+ runs. So if you're thinking about, taking the White Sox here today, once again, they're 3-6 when Cannon pitches on the road this season. They won all of those games by 4+ runs. Falter, Pittsburgh's pitcher, lefty, hasn't pitched versus the White Sox this year. Nothing looks extremely high with the walks or home runs allowed. He's slightly worse against left-handed hitters. His average pitch count is 77 this season, 69 pitches within his last 5 games. So I definitely could see that 12th ranked best Pittsburgh bullpen ERA come into play here again today. Let's see here. Pittsburgh is 7-3 at home when Falter pitches. They won 4 of those games. 4 out of 7 of those wins were by 3+ runs. And they lost 1 out of the 3 losses by exactly 6 runs. So I'm just kind of looking at the batters here. I think, I don't know if Adam Frazier was playing a whole lot for Pittsburgh, but he was a batter that I did like. As many of you know, he's with the Royals now. So I think him being out of this game could impact Pittsburgh for the worst. I'm liking what I see as far as batting average when it comes to the White Sox a little bit more than what I like with Pittsburgh here today, specifically Caro, Benintendi, Mydroth, and Robert. Stolen bases per game. I would give Pittsburgh an advantage here. The White Sox runs per game on the road, they rank third worst in baseball, and Pittsburgh's really good at limiting runs at home. They rank fifth best in baseball and runs per game allowed at home. Team strikeouts are about the same. The White Sox rank 19th, a little below average, and then Pittsburgh is below them at 23rd. Now, who do I like in this game? It does worry me that the White Sox are 3-6 when Cannon pitches on the road, and Pittsburgh is 7-3 with Falter at home. I really like how, once again, I like how those White Sox bats match up here today against Falter a little bit more than Pittsburgh's bats against Cannon. I think I got to go with. Here's another fun fact for you guys in this game. The White Sox lost 17 straight games after the All-Star break last season. The Pirates won back-to-back games against the Phillies last season after the All-Star break. I could see the White Sox plus 1.5, but I think I'd be a little more comfortable with Pittsburgh winning this game outright. Now, when it comes to if they'll hit that run line, Pittsburgh, once again, they won 4 out of the 7 games that they won at home with Falter by 3+ runs. This is a close one for me to call. I saw some other games that I liked better today. This is a stay away game for me. I got to go with the White Sox, plus that 1.5 here is what I'll take. Once again, when it comes down to it, I just like how the White Sox bats match up a little bit better today. But there are some things in Pittsburgh's favor. So once again, just a real close game for me to call there. Moving on, San Diego at Washington. San Diego is 2-1 against Washington this season. San Diego won both of those games by exactly 1. So Washington plus 1.5 is 3-0 this year against San Diego. The biggest run line advantage I see, biggest run line trend advantage I see is San Diego run line after a loss. They rank 5th best in baseball. So we got Cease versus Soroka. Now, San Diego and Washington, that game was the one that we were keeping an eye out for in regards to the weather. So that game looks like it has the biggest chance to get postponed, or delayed, but they're leaning towards it playing. Last I checked, Cease hasn't pitched against Washington this season. San Diego is 3-7 on the road with Cease this season. His average pitch count is pretty high. San Diego's bullpen is good as well, but they rank 2nd best with bullpen ERA. Cease has been averaging 95 pitches per game this season, 100 pitches per game in his last 5 games. I like how Abrams, Garcia, and Wood match up against him in regards to batting average against right-handed pitchers. If I had to go with one of those hitters, I don't necessarily like a home run hitter in this game just because it's not on the top 10 list in that Park Factors website that I've mentioned in previous shows. But if I were to go, maybe with just somebody to get a hit in this one, I think I probably like, CJ Abrams batting a 278 against right-handed pitchers. Cease throws 47% of his pitches are sliders. Abrams is batting 289 off sliders this season. Um, and then his next pitch, most used pitch, Dylan Cease, is the four seam fastball, which Abrams is batting at 295 off that four seam this season. Now, looking at San Diego here, Soroka hasn't pitched against San Diego this season, and Washington is 1-4 at home with this starting pitcher this year. He's worse against left-handed hitters, Soroka. And there's a lot of guys on this list that I have wrote down that are pretty good against right-handed pitchers. Machado, Arise, Tatis, Merrill, and Sheets. Now, Soroka likes to throw that four seam. 44% of the time, he throws that four seamer. The person who's best, and it really comes to no surprise on the San Diego team hitting that four seamer is Arise, batting a 328 off of that. Now, Soroka also throws that slurve. San Diego doesn't have a lot of history this season when it comes to batting off of that slurve. So let me filter this real quick to 2024 and how the Padres did against the slurve and who had the best batting average. Once we get to a park where it's in the top 10 on that park factors list for somebody to hit a home run, that's when we'll start looking at slugging percentage and whatnot. But right now, out of the five players that I like for San Diego, Arias hits the best, not only off that four seamer, but that slurve. He had 14, looks like 14 pitches last season. Is batting 667 off of it. So not a huge sample size against that slurve. But yeah, I would go. I like Arias for that. Now, when it comes to runs per game on the road, runs per game allowed at home, and all that stuff, I don't see any big outliers here. Nothing that really pops out. Washington is good at stolen bases per game if they can get on base, which Cease does have that 3.4 average walks per 9 innings. So he could walk some guys. Maybe Washington gets a couple hits here and there. They could definitely swipe some bags today. San Diego ranked 17th in stolen bases allowed per game. So I would give Washington that base stealing advantage. San Diego has a monstrous bullpen advantage in this game. San Diego ranks second in bullpen ERA. Washington ranks 30th. Both of these teams are hard to strike out. San Diego ranks third best per game in strikeouts, team strikeouts per game. Washington ranks fourth. It does worry me that San Diego has played Washington 3 times this season and has not beat them by 2+ runs yet. So I don't feel comfortable enough necessarily taking the Nationals to win this game. But just based off that, I don't think the Nationals match up terribly in this game. I think they could keep it close, but I like the Padres to come away with this win. If I were have to lean a run line, I'd have to go San Diego. But ML, give me the Padres here. Moving on, Angels and Phillies. Now, I know it's going to take a lot for me to like the Angels here. So these teams haven't played each other this season. You may want to fact check me on this, but I believe it's Real Muto bobblehead night. And it looks like the Angels, it's going to be a bullpen game for them. Like we stated at the start of this show, the Angels have the 28th ranked bullpen ERA. So there's only a couple teams that have a worse bullpen ERA than this Angels team. Since it's a bullpen game, I didn't look at the pitch arsenal for each. I didn't have the time for that. For each bullpen pitcher, right? And I didn't even look at the projected starting pitchers pitch arsenal. But if we look at rotowire.com, we're seeing he's throwing about 1 inning per game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came out of this game, unless you find information elsewhere. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come out after, an inning or two here. Luzardo for the Phillies. The Phillies are 6-3 at home with Luzardo this season. His average pitch count is about 94 in throughout the season, and then 95 within his last 5 games. He's worst against right-handed hitters. If you like a right-handed hitter for the Angels today, there you go. But what I will say is this Philadelphia ballpark ranks 6th best for left-handed hitters to hit home runs, according to that Park Factors source that we looked at on previous shows. So if I'm looking for a home run hitter, I'm looking for maybe a lefty here. I think Luzardo matches up well today. I don't necessarily really like the bats here today for the Angels in regards to batting average. I think it's tough to call which home run hitter because the Angels have a bunch of bullpen guys coming in. But once again, it ranks 6th best for that left-handed hitter home run in the Park Factors website that we like to look at to see where a batter has an advantage, is more likely to hit a home run. So Schwarber, Harper, if you guys, like any of these left-handed hitters, I can't rebuttal that. Now, the Phillies do a good job. They rank 7th best at runs per game at home. The Angels rank 24th in runs per game allowed at home. The Angels do not have a base stealing advantage in this game. Once again, when I talk about base stealing advantage, I don't look at necessarily that pitcher's pickoff move. I look at the stolen bases per game, team stolen bases per game, and team stolen bases allowed per game. If you want, I think it is good to know which pitchers, are good at pickoff moves and which ones, allow a lot of stolen bases and which ones don't. Most stolen bases allowed by pitcher in 2025 is something that you could type into your search engine here. Looks like Alcantara leads the league, in stolen bases allowed. Jeffrey Springs, Luzardo. But as we stated earlier, uh, the Angels rank 29th in stolen bases per game, and Philadelphia ranks 8th in stolen bases allowed per game. I do think it's possible, right, against Luzardo for them to steal some bases, the Angels, but Luzardo's Average walks per 9 inning rate isn't alarming, but it's close. It's 3.1. With all that being said, give me the Phillies here. Even on the, I think even on that run line. Now, the Angels do rank sixth on the run line, sixth best on the run line after a loss. But the Philadelphia Phillies, as a home favorite, rank sixth best on the run line. So I just don't see any advantage here for the Angels. But crazy things happen in baseball. Nothing's a guarantee. But I like to look at each game and make the best educated decision that I can. So all of that leads me to taking the Phillies on the run line here. Moving on, San Francisco at Toronto. San Francisco at Toronto. Let me look. I was a little busy this afternoon. Let me look at these starting lineups. I think I really like Toronto in this game, but let me look at the starting lineups real quick here. If you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to type them. I believe the only ones that I can see though are the ones on if you're on Kick or YouTube. How about the Sox? Um, okay, those are old comments. Cool. Luke's VJG. Okay, so I found an interesting trend in this game. This is probably one of my favorite ones that I found today. I think people are going to see Verlander and maybe somewhat be naturally gravitated towards picking the Giants today. They see a big name like Verlander. He is 0-7 this season, but what I found is that Toronto's 9-1 at home with Bassett pitching this season, which that's crazy good. And San Francisco's 1-5 on the road with Verlander this season. 9-1 at home with Bassett pitching this season. I really like how the Toronto Blue Jays bats match up against Verlander more than the Giants match up against Bassett. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Bassett. And if I'm not, I'm going to try to. Here we go. Oh, they left his name off this list. Anyways, Toronto's starting pitcher. Projected starting pitcher. Okay, so Toronto ranks fourth best for left-handed hitters to hit home runs and ranks fourth for right-handed hitters to hit home runs. A lot of information that I'm looking at here. Kirk has the best batting average off of a right-handed pitcher this season. He's batting .310. Verlander, 47% of the time, pitches the four seam. So I think it's real important to maybe go with somebody that can hit that four seam. Kirk, 324 off the four seam this season. VJG, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., or VGJ, 333 off the four seamer this season. Bichette, 307 off that four seamer. Now, let me look here real quick. Springer has 11 home runs off of right-handed pitching this season, which I believe is best on Toronto. It is best on Toronto. George Springer. And he has the second best batting average on that team with a 291 against right-handed pitchers. Vladimir Guerrero and Bichette have 9 home runs off of right-handed pitching this season. and then Kirk has 6. Looks like Verlander's splits are about. He's not particularly good or bad against a specific handed batter. Looks like he's a little more. It's pretty even. You know who leads Toronto in home runs this season? George Springer with 16, and then Barger. I could see Barger getting one as well, but he's just not hitting great off that four seamer. Springer's hitting 244 off of it. Springer, from my understanding, also has good history. And when I say good history, I mean a batter that's batting 300 or more against a pitcher with at least 10 at bats. Let me look real quick, and then we'll kind of move on to who I like in this game. I think you guys kind of see where I'm leaning towards Toronto, but um, let me look at Verlander. Springer has 2 home runs off of him, 16 at bats throughout his career. He's batting a 375 off of him. Vladimir Guerrero has 8 at bats, no home runs off of him, batting 125. Bichette 9 at bats. I would have to go with Springer here for my home run pick. But let's get away from the home runs. That's not necessarily something that I like to focus on, but I do like to mention it. I know a lot of you, are looking for maybe some home run hitters. Now, Toronto ranks 4th best at runs per game at home. San Francisco is playing good defense on the road. They rank 4th best in runs per game allowed on the road. Base stealing advantage. I don't see really either team having a big base stealing advantage. Bullpen ERA. San Francisco does have the best bullpen ERA in baseball. They rank 1st. Toronto ranks 8th. And I can see the bullpens coming into play today. Verlander in his last 5 games, he has an 83 average pitch count, and Bassett has a 71 average pitch count in his last 5. Both of them about 85, 88 throughout the whole season. So I could see these bullpens coming into play today. Toronto is the toughest team in the league to strike out. They per game they have the least amount of strikeouts, which can cause a pitcher to throw a few more pitches. I really like this trend with how Toronto is 9-1 at home with Bassett this season. San Francisco's 1-5 on the road with Verlander this season. I like how these bats match up today for Toronto. This is probably the best thing that I've seen today. Now, what is Toronto to win? 144. And sometimes, guys, that minus 1.5 is just a little too um, risky. That's why I like books that offer that -1. Sometimes I like to take it down to -1. I'm okay with a push, you know. But if you're comfortable paying a little juice, yeah. I mean, Toronto ML looks good to me. Toronto to win this game. If I were to have to lean one side on that run line or not, I would be going with Toronto. And then it's City Connect Friday. I believe the Toronto Blue Jays will be wearing their City Connects Barrios City Connect replica jersey giveaway, from my understanding. So yeah, give me the Blue Jays to win this game. All right, moving on. Cincinnati and the Mets. So I believe the Mets had a pitcher that I thought was going to start today, and it looks like it's going to be what I'm seeing here on rotowire.com is Sean Manaea is starting for the Mets today. Now, Manaea, let me close some of these tabs real quick. Manaea had his season debut just a few days ago, July 13th at Kansas City. He threw 3.1 innings. So he's just getting back into the swing of things. I don't know how many pitches he will be throwing in this game. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw a little bit more than what he threw against Kansas City. That's 65. The Mets have an average bullpen ERA, and so does Cincinnati. Looks like it's going to be Lodolo, projected starter for Cincinnati. Two left-handed starting pitchers today. Let me just browse the starting lineups real quick here. There's really only one batter for the Mets that I'm looking at, and it's Soto, batting a 257 off left-handed pitchers. And then I got three guys on my list here for the Reds that I like: Espinal, Stevenson, and Friedel, the center fielder who's projected to bat in the one hole there. All right, so Lodolo, excuse me, hasn't pitched against the Mets this season. Cincinnati's 3-6 on the road with Lodolo. Average pitch count for the season and in his last 5 games is 90. His batting average allowed versus left-handed hitters is higher, but he allows more home runs to right-handed hitters. The Mets ballpark ranks 5th best for left-handed hitters to hit home runs. You know, I said I was going to go over like slugging percentage whenever we got to a ballpark that we liked. So I'd really like um, a different game though, because there's really only one batter on my radar for the Mets, and that's Soto. He's Lodolo has a more of a variety of a pitch arsenal. 28% four seamer, 27% curve, 22% change, 22% sinker. 22% sinker. So, I mean, Soto's really not batting that great off of any of those pitches, but he is batting a 291 off that four seam, 265 off the changeup. Lodolo matches up pretty well today, statistically, against the Mets offense. I like the way that Cincinnati's offense matches up better against Manaea. Specifically, I would probably have to go with Friedel, the guy who's in the one spot for Cincinnati. He's batting 253. Let me since this was a pitch change, let me double check on this. Whoop. Let me just look at something real quick. I'm looking at batting splits on fangraphs.com. I'm filtering this by left-handed hitter versus left-handed pitcher. And I'm filtering it by team. I want to look for Friedel. Gosh, I have a thing here, baseballreference.com, that helps with pronouncing some of these names. So yeah, it's Friedel. Anyways, if you're interested in talking about sports and stuff, I think it is important to be able to pronounce these guys' names right. So if you're into that, I like to use for baseball, baseball-reference.com. Okay, so Friedel batting 253 off left-handed pitching this season, which is third best for Cincinnati off of left-handed pitching this season. Manaya's go-to pitch is that four-seam fastball. Um, Friedel is batting 325 off of that. He's not batting terrible off of the sweeper that Manea likes to use. Hold on, let me go back real quick. Manaya, right? We did mention that this is his second game playing this season. So 66% of his pitches against the Royals were four seams. 31% were sweepers, right? Last season, the numbers were a little different. Maybe he gets that sinker going today. He did use it last season, but, against the Royals, from my understanding, 66% of those pitches were four seams. So Friedel's batting 325 off that four seam. He's a left-handed hitter. He does have 3 home runs this season off left-handed pitching. Looks like he has 1 home run off of Mania too, throughout his history. Let's double check that. Yep, he sure does. 1 home run, 5 at bats. That would be my home run hitter for Cincinnati. All right, moving on. Once again, I just like how Cincinnati's bats match up a little bit better here. Runs per game. I don't really see any advantage for either team when it comes to all that information. Stolen bases per game. Mets do a really good job at preventing base stealing. They rank second best in baseball. Stolen bases allowed per game. Cincinnati's a decent base stealing team. I don't really give anybody an advantage here either in regard to base stealing. Strikeouts per game. Mets they rank 10th best at not striking out per game. Cincinnati ranks 22nd. I know some of you like those strikeout props. That's one of the reason why I mention it. I like Cincinnati in this game. They're 5-5 in their last 10. 2-game win streak. The Mets are 6-4 in their last 10. 1-game losing streak. I think it could be close. Is Cincinnati an underdog? Yeah. All right. So just backtracking real quick. I did like the Phillies here. Blue Jays probably my favorite play that I've seen so far. And then the Reds plus 1.5 I think looks good. And I forgot what I said about the Pittsburgh game. Probably Pittsburgh to win, but White Sox to hit that plus 1.5. And then I think I may have even said Washington plus 1.5. Anyways, yeah, give me Cincinnati in this game with Friedel being my favorite player to hit a home run. Soto for the Mets. All right, Athletics and Cleveland. Let's update this weather real quick. Let's see if there's any weather updates that we have. I don't really see too much. rotogrinders.com/weather/MLB says that the Padres and Nationals game is really the only game that could end up in trouble. So everything's looking pretty clear today. All right, so we got the Athletics and Cleveland Guardians. Sears, left-handed pitcher versus Saccone, right-handed pitcher for Cleveland. Cleveland is 2-1. Hold on. I have in my notes here Cleveland is 2-1 against Cleveland this season. Cleveland Guardians schedule. I mean, it's not a big sample size either way. You're probably looking at 2-1 either way. I do like to give out that information though for you guys. So let me just double check my work here real quick. Athletics. Sometimes I look at a lot of stuff, so sometimes I do make typos. I'm not perfect. Okay, so yeah, Cleveland's 2-1 against the Athletics this season. Cleveland won both of those games by 2+ runs. The game that the Athletics won, they won by exactly 4. Looks like it's Kyle Manzardo's birthday. Do like to mention birthdays. I think it's Joe Torre's birthday too. Anyways, Manzardo, but he is not in this lineup for Cleveland today, but it's worth mentioning. All right. My favorite run line trend that I see is that Cleveland is 25-20 after a win, which ranks fourth best in baseball. Also, the Athletics on the run line as a road underdog ranks 28th. So they're near the bottom of the league on the run line as a road underdog. Sears, left-handed pitcher for the Athletics, pitched versus Cleveland. See, we have a little bit of we have some stuff to work with here. Sears pitched versus Cleveland on June 22nd, and Cleveland won that game 3-0. Once again, JP Sears, pitcher for the projected pitcher for the Athletics today. He had 5 innings pitched, 7 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. The Athletics are 5-5 on the road with Sears pitching this season. His average pitch count is about 89. The Athletics have the second worst bullpen ERA in baseball. So home runs per 9, average home runs allowed per 9 innings. We said anything with like 1 or above is worth looking at. He's at a 1.8. This Sears guy, and is this park good for a specific left-handed or right-handed hitter? I'm seeing that Cleveland ranks 10th best for home runs for left-handed hitters. I don't believe Jose Ramirez. I know he's a switcher. I don't believe he hits left though against a left-handed pitcher. I believe he'd go to his right in that situation. And then Martinez is also a switch hitter. So I think I'm going to be leaning a little bit more towards a athletic to get a home run in this game. But those are the two guys that I was looking at for Cleveland. Ramirez batting 349 off of left-handed pitching. 39% of Sears pitches this season have been the 4-seam. Ramirez is batting 297 off that. His next best pitch is the sweeper, 28% usage. Ramirez is batting 375 off that sweeper this season. Now, Saccone, he pitched. The Cleveland pitcher, he pitched against the Athletics on June 22nd, and Cleveland won that game 3-0. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks. The Athletics do have a better record on the road this season with Sears than the Guardians do at home this season with Saccone. His average home runs per 9 innings allowed is 1.5, and he's worse. Saccone is worse against left-handed hitters. Okay, which makes me, and once again, this ballpark, according to that Park Factors website that we've talked about on previous shows, is advantageous for left-handed hitters to hit home runs. So here's somewhere that I'm, kind of wanting to look at that slugging percentage, right? I have a list of athletic players that I like in regards to how their bats match up against Saccone, at least in regards to batting average. Wilson, Kurtz, Soderstrom, Rooker, Butler, Andujar. Um, excuse me, Andujar. Pardon me. All right, um, so we're looking for a lefty, right? Now, I typically kind of want to target a team with a weak bullpen, just in case my home run hitter doesn't get one off that starting pitcher. Cleveland doesn't have a terrible bullpen, and they don't have the best bullpen. It does rank eighth best in baseball, or excuse me, 10th best in baseball. So Soderstrom, I think, is going to be the guy that I like the most in this situation. The next man up is going to be Kurtz. All right. So let's go over Soderstrom's stuff here real quick. Batting a 275 off of right-handed pitchers. Saccone, 40% four seam is what his usage is this season. Soderstrom's batting a 352 off that four seamer. And Soderstrom also leads the Athletics with 17 home runs against right-handed pitchers. So against right-handed pitchers, Soderstrom has 17 home runs. He has a 620 slugging percentage off that four seam. Now Kurtz does have a 667 slugging percentage off the four seam, and he has 14 home runs as well. So for me, it's kind of like a coin flip there. Do any of these guys have favorable history against Saccone? I don't. I don't know. I mean, we can look real quick. And just going back to it, guys. Not only is this park advantageous for left-handed hitters to hit home runs, but Saccone's works against left-handed hitters as well. So kind of narrowed it down to those two for me. Once again, I wish Cleveland's bullpen was a little bit worse, just in case they didn't get one off Saccone. But I think it's doable. Another mention here is going to be Butler, 10 home runs against right-handed pitching this season. I just don't necessarily like his batting average against right-handed pitchers as much as I do the other two. And I don't like his slugging percentage off that four seam as much as the other two. Now, Kurtz, I didn't mention his batting average off that four seamer this year. It's 267. So if I were to go with somebody, it'd be Soderstrom. Stephen Kwan is out of this game for the Guardians. I like the Athletics here. I like how their bats match up here. Now it is tough taking a team right with a high bullpen ERA. Let's say that Sears does a good job. And the Athletics bullpen could always come in and squander it away, but I like the Athletics plus the 1.5 here. Moving on, Royals at Marlins. Now, I believe on this day in 1991, the Marlins logo was revealed. I like looking at what happened on this day in history. Um, Now, Miami on the run line after a win has the third best record in baseball on the run line, and then the Royals on the run line as a road favorite. Brinks, they're tied for third best run line record in baseball when they are a road favorite. Let me look at these starting lineups real quick. I've already looked at the Royals. Let me look at the Marlins real quick. I really like how the Marlins bats match up, but the Royals are kind of dangerous. Okay, let me analyze this real quick. So we got Sugar Seth Lugo, right-handed pitcher, hasn't pitched against the Marlins this season. The Royals are 3-4, 3 wins, 4 losses on the road this season when Lugo pitches. Lugo is worse against left-handed hitters. Average pitch count mid 90s for the season and in his last 5. And then Alcantara, right-handed pitcher for Miami, hasn't pitched against Kansas City this season. Miami is 4-6 at home with this pitcher this season, and he does have a uh, he does have a 3.7 walks per 9 inning average. Alcantara. Now, when we go look at team walks drawn per game, right? The Royals draw the least amount of walks for any team in the league, so it'll be it'll be that's what I'm going to keep my eye on for that game. Are the Royals going to draw some walks against this guy? If they do, I think the Royals are at a big advantage. They rank 14th in stolen bases per game. No other team allows more stolen bases per game than the Marlins. Uh, we saw, and you may want to look at this because I haven't looked deep into this, but I think no other team, no other pitcher has allowed more stolen bases this season than Alcantara. Um, I know the stolen bases used to be, something that the Royals love to do. Now they do rank 14th. They still are, about average in that department. But man, it's tough to go against the Royals if they're going to be swiping some bags. And the Royals don't. The Royals allow the least amount of stolen bases per game. Just to look at the other side here, the Royals bullpen ranks ninth best in regard to ERA. Miami's ranks 19th. The Royals rank second in team strikeouts per game. They're a tough team to strike out. Miami is above average in that department. Um, Man, I really am a little torn here. I'm a little torn here. Now I'm not going to mention home run hitters in this game because it's not in the top 10 on that list for home runs. But it's just one moment, please. All right, sorry about that, guys. Thanks for your patience. Both of these pitchers have a diverse pitch arsenal. Garcia's batting a 285 off of right-handed pitching for the Royals. 387 off Alcantara's most used pitch. That's 24% sinker. I would say Garcia would be my pick for the Royals to get a hit. Once again, I'm not going to talk about home runs, and I do really have to analyze these how they are off of these specific pitches real quick. Mm, runs per game at home, right? I think I just see some more things that I like about the Royals here today. Runs per game allowed, excuse me, runs per game at home for Miami. They rank 28th. So they're the third worst team at scoring runs per game at home. The Royals have done a great job at preventing runs per game on the road. They rank second best in that department. I think the Royals, man. I think they can swipe some bags here today, edge out a victory if need be. I think no, I got to go with the Royals here to get the win. Um, they just became have they been favored? Yeah, they've been favored. It was close earlier. Um, man, I could see Miami hitting that plus 1.5, but um, I think that Royals line is fair. I have to lean towards the Royals getting this win. I really don't feel comfortable about taking Miami plus 1.5. I'm gonna have to go with the Royals here. Now their offense does worry me a little bit. I know you Royal fans are expecting or hoping that this offense produces a little bit more than they have been this season. Maybe this is the time. First game back from the All Star break. Here we go. Yeah, so just give me the Royals in this game. All right, moving on. Yankees and Atlanta. There was some late news in this game. Let me try to fix this real quick. All right. Yeah, there was some late news in this game in regards to starting pitchers. Freed was the projected starter. Now it looks like it's going to be a bullpen game for the Yankees. Brubaker is projected to start for the Yankees, going up against Strider. So I don't really know. Here's what I'm saying. The Yankees bullpen ranks 20th, right? They're below average, and if it's going to be a bullpen game, right there's a disadvantage for the Yankees. But I did just want to mention that. Let me go over some other stuff real quick. These teams haven't played each other this season. It's Joe Torre's birthday, who used to coach the Yankees, and it is his birthday. He used to play. Shout out Joe Torre. He used to play for Atlanta too. So I don't really know what to make of this. When I think of Joe Torre, though, I think of the Yankees, and there was another pitcher earlier this season. But this is a different situation. Um, the Yankees had a young guy in his debut, and we were talking about how the Yankees were going to possibly rally that game and back that pitcher up. They did it. The question is, will they do it here today? So, yeah, I don't have a lot of information to work with here when in regards to what what the Atlanta Braves are going to see, but we can look at Strider here a little bit. Atlanta's 2-3 at home with Strider this season. His average pitch count in his last five is 97, so he's going deep into the games. Atlanta does have a good bullpen ERA as well. They rank seventh best in baseball. The Yankees are the best team in drawing walks per game, and Strider is right at that amount, 3.5 walks per 9 innings. That raises an alarm. So that makes me definitely want to look at how good are the Yankees at stealing bases. They rank 18th best, uh, or worse, however you want to look at that. They rank 18th in stolen bases per game, and Atlanta ranks 26th in stolen bases per game allowed. So I do think the Yankees can get on base here and swipe some bags against this Atlanta ball club. Now, when we're looking at, uh, you know, who's matching up, I just want to make sure I got this right. Who's matching up against Strider? So, of course, we got Judge, Dominguez, Grisham, Chisholm, and Bellinger are the guys that I like as far as batting average against Strider. Now, I do want to mention this park, the Atlanta ballpark, did rank 11th best for left-handed hitting home runs. So, Chisholm, hold on real quick. Chisholm, 16 home runs, left-handed hitter versus right-handed pitching. So Chisholm is the leading left-handed hitter on the Yankees for home runs against right-handed pitching. And I think everybody's going to be kind of, dogging and not looking at Chisholm after that that home run derby. Now Chisholm, he's batting a 261 off right-handed pitchers, batting 234 off that four-seamer. 54% is what Strider likes to have for that four-seamer. 54% is his usage on that four-seamer. Judge is batting 376 off the four-seamer. He is a right-handed hitter. It doesn't take a whole lot to like Judge every day, though. So we're trying to kind of find something new here. I think probably Chisholm matches up the best here. Now we can go into slugging percentage as well, real quick, to see. Hey, one moment, please. All right, thanks for your patience once again. So Chisholm. So we were looking at slugging percentage against the four seam fastball for Yankees. I mean, Judge. He once again he's a righty, but batting 935 off that four slugging percentage wise off that four seamer. Then it's Grisham at 573. I think he's probably the second best option today, maybe even the first best option today for left-handed hitting home runs. Grisham, Bellinger batting a 558 there, and then Chisholm. What about the slider? Strider's got a 37% slider that he likes to throw. So let's look at that. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so let's look at that. slider, Judge batting. Let me mute this real quick. Sorry for the pauses, guys. Got some things going on. Yeah, I mean, Chisholm or Grisham is who I'd go there. Chisholm first option, Grisham second. With all that being said, um, who do I like in this game? I have no idea, to be honest with you. Um, like I said, I don't know what to expect out of the Yankees pitching. I would I would expect the Yankees to have to score some runs today to win this game. I do think the Yankees can steal some bases. Joe Torre's birthday. I mean, I think I have to go Yankees in this one. The line was close too. I don't even know if they were. It looks like they're a road underdog right now. So let's look up that run line trend. Yanks as a road dog on the run line. 4-2. They're near the not a big sample size, but they are above average. What about Atlanta as a home favorite on that run line? They're about average there. Yankees run per game on the road ranks fifth. Atlanta's runs per game at home ranks 21st. I think people are going to be kind of shy about going with the Yankees today just because their starting pitcher that was projected to play isn't going to play today. Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go with the Yankees here. Don't feel great about that at all. But there you have it. And Chisholm, my favorite batter in that game, followed up by Grisham. Once again, guys, Atlanta, Olson. I'm seeing the starting lineup. He could get, he could get a home run off of this Yankees 20th ranked Yankees a bullpen ERA. Um, Baldwin, Albies, Profar. It's going to be tough for the Yankees today for sure. Once again, I do not feel confident in that game at all as far as who's going to win that one. But I would have to lean towards the Yankees plus 1.5. Joe Torre birthday. All right. Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Baltimore is what time does that game start? 7:35. So let me cover this game, and then there was a game that I found an interesting trend with. I think it was that Dodgers game. Now the starting lineups aren't out yet, but it's okay. But we have two, five. Looks like six more games to cover. One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, cool. So we're just rolling right along. Maybe this was the game. Yeah, Baltimore and Tampa Bay. So Taj Bradley, man, he's been shelled by the Baltimore Orioles this season. So Taj Bradley for the Tampa Bay Rays starting pitcher versus Charlie Morton for the Baltimore Orioles. So Bradley pitched versus Baltimore in Tampa Bay on June 18th, and Tampa Bay won that game 12-8. But I don't know how they won because Bradley threw for 1.1 innings, allowed 6 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. All right, maybe he had a bad game. Well, on 11 days later, he pitched in Baltimore. This one's in Tampa Bay. He pitched in Baltimore, and Baltimore did win that game 5-1. But he allowed 8 hits, 5.1 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs allowed. So he's been shelled twice by this Baltimore team. His average pitch count is 87 this season, 81 through his last 5 games. He has a worse batting average against right-handed hitters, more home runs allowed to left-handed hitters. Is this home run advantageous for a specific person or a hand to hit a home run? Looks like Tampa Bay Park ranks second in right-handed hitters hitting home runs. So he has been allowing more home runs once again to lefties, but there you have it. Tampa Bay is 5-4 at home with Bradley this season. 45% of his pitches is that four-seamer. I think O'Hearn is man. And O'Hearn, I believe he has good history off of Bradley. Now, we did talk about a right-handed hitter that we were looking at for this game, but it's hard not to mention real quick the left-handed hitting Ryan O'Hearn batting in that 4-hole today. He does have a home run off of this pitcher, 12 at bats, batting 417 off of him. Another guy I was looking at is Gunnar Henderson. He also has good history and a home run through 17 at bats against this pitcher. Now I like how O'Hearn hits against this specific pitch arsenal a little bit more. I mean, 338 against the four seam, 375 versus the cutter, 467 versus the split, and 316 versus the curve. Good history. O'Hearn's batting 300 against right-handed pitching this season. Now, what's Bradley's home runs? He's not given up a ton of home runs per 9 innings. So yeah, I mean, I like O'Hearn for a hit here today, but and same with Gunnar Henderson. But uh, what about the other pitcher? His home run per 9 innings rate is a little bit higher. He's worse against right-handed hitting. Morton. He's 39% of Morton's pitches are curves. I would be targeting a right-handed hitter for Tampa Bay to hit a home run in this one. And that I know obviously brings up Caminero, who was just in the home run derby. Andy Diaz, is he starting today? Yes, he's batting that 3-hole. Let's see. Let's go see who has the best slugging percentage off of Morton's most used pitch. That 39% curve. 39% curve ball. Thank you guys for joining. Hopefully, you guys find this information useful. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment on YouTube or on the Kick app. Kick. Curveball. Um, Tampa Bay Rays against the curveball, slugging Aranda. Who's I think Aranda's definitely worth looking at here. Man, I think, but he's a lefty. Andy Diaz and Caminero are just the guys. Who's better at slugging between those two? This website's really cool if you're into this type of stuff too. Baseball Savant, SAVANT.com. And you can actually click to see not just slugging percentage, but like how many home runs somebody has hit off of that pitch. But anyways, Caminero doesn't have great slugging off of that curveball that Morton likes to rely on. Yandy Diaz has a 294 slugging percentage. Uh, I mean, I would probably go with him for a home run hitter in this game. That would be my pick. But I could see Caminero getting one. But once again, guys, he just doesn't have the greatest slugging percentage off that curve. But Morton has other pitches he does like to throw. 31%. So we mentioned 39% of his pitches are that curveball. 31% are the four seam fastball. So who has the best slugging percentage off of that? Yandy Diaz has a better slugging percentage than Caminero off that specific pitch this season. He's batting slugging a three, or excuse me, he's slugging a 694, and Caminero's slugging at a 672. So, and then 13% he's using as the sinker, and Caminero slugging 500 off that pitch. Yandy 363. Yeah, so I'm thinking Yandy Diaz for this. But I think I was focused too much on home runs for this one. Anyways, runs per game on the road, Baltimore hasn't been doing great. They rank 27th in that department. Tampa Bay has been doing good at scoring runs per game at home. Baltimore's been allowing a lot of games on the road as well. But Tampa Bay does a good job at limiting runs per game at home. Stolen bases per game. I think both teams, could swipe some bags in this one, but I do give Tampa Bay the advantage here. Tampa Bay ranks first in stolen bases per game. Baltimore ranks 18th in stolen bases allowed per game. What about I don't think either of these guys have like a super well. Taj Bradley has a 3.5 walks per nine inning rate, which is right at that mark that is alarming, right? Um, what about Morton? 4.1. So yeah, 4.1. So whew, there could be some bases stolen in this game, especially on the Tampa Bay side. It worries me though, man, that Bradley's been shelled by this Orioles team a couple times already this season. Tampa Bay, man, it looks like they have better things going for them. Even run line trends, um, they're doing better with here. So the cool thing about this is, we mentioned, and if we didn't mention it, we are now. Baltimore's 4-3 against Tampa Bay this season. Baltimore won all of those games by 3+ runs, and then Tampa Bay won all of their games by 4+ runs. So if you're looking for, maybe an alternate run line here, that's that's possible, man. 7 games, and each game was decided by 3 or more runs. Um, I don't like how Tampa Bay matches up necessarily against that curve. I like a couple guys, but Morton's better against left-handed hitters. I'm man. Really tough for me to call. And I feel like whoever I pick in this one, I got to go, to win by 3+, just based on the 7 games that they've played this year. Who's favored? Tampa Bay. Yeah, man. They're probably going to be able to steal some bags in this game, too. Morton won and he's done okay against Tampa Bay. And I don't like how Tampa Bay matches up against that curve that he has. A couple guys are good off of it. He can get in trouble if he starts throwing that 4-seam, though. Morton's got to really limit those walks, man. Baltimore ranks 25th in bullpen ERA. This one's real tough for me to call here. Felt much better about some other games today, like Toronto, Phillies, and maybe some other ones if I mentioned them. Toronto still being my favorite play today. But once again, guys, nothing's a guarantee, okay? Just statistically, that's what I'm leaning towards today. The most is Toronto. Bradley. I don't want to get too hung up on who I like in this game. um, Even though I am, I like getting my predictions right. Man, I'm just splitting hairs here. Four seam. Hold on real quick. Let me just kind of look at all of these batting averages against the specific pitch. Okay, give me the Orioles here. Moving on. Detroit at Texas. Texas is 2-1 against Detroit this season. Texas won both games by 5+ runs. Detroit won exactly by 1 run in their lone win against Texas this season. This line looks pretty close. Olsen, right-handed pitcher for Detroit, pitched in Detroit versus Texas on May 11th, and Texas won that game 6-1. So Olsen did not get that win. He allowed 7 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, a walk. Detroit's 3-3 on the road with Olsen this season. Corbin pitched at Detroit on May 9th, and Detroit won that game 2-1. He pitched pretty good. Corbin did against this Detroit team. Texas is 2-5 at home with Corbin this season. I mean, this game, runs per game allowed at home. Texas ranks first in that department. Detroit's been scoring well on the road. They rank 4th in runs per game on the road this season. Detroit's done a good job at limiting runs per game allowed on the road, and Texas hasn't been scoring a whole lot of runs at home. They rank 26th in runs per game allowed. In runs per game at home. Stolen bases. Texas does have an advantage here. Detroit really doesn't like to steal a whole lot of bases, and Texas does. Detroit's pretty good at that stolen base prevention, though. When it comes to the bullpen, Texas ranks 4th best in bullpen ERA. Detroit ranks 21st. Texas is a tougher team to strike out. Let me look at the Just look at these starting lineups real quick. So I always have a list of batters that I like, and then I'll look at those starting lineups, and then just start deleting batters if I don't see them in the starting lineup, and then I can kind of look at it a little bit better. Well, I think Olson, he there's three batters in particular that I'm looking at for Texas. Olson, 29% of the time throws that sinker, and these batters I'm looking at, Smith, Seager, and Langford, are good off that sinker. They're all above 300. But then you go to his changeup, which is his second most used pitch, and these guys are not good off the changeup, and only one of them is good at that 22% used slider from Olson. Now Corbin likes to throw a slider, sinker. I just think Detroit's bats match up better here against Corbin. Now, this is not on the top ballpark factors for left-handed or right-handed hitting home runs. So I'm not going to dig into that too much, but we're looking at Detroit's bullpen and stuff. That's a little concerning there. I think I'm gonna have to go with Detroit in this one. Detroit's 3-3 on the road with Olson this season. Texas is 2-5 at home with Corbin this season. I do before I lock that in, I gotta look at Olson's base on balls per 9 innings. It's right under that threshold. What's his average pitch count? Here we go. 87 in his last 5 games. Um, you know, I think it's really close, and if you're a Rangers plus 1.5 type of person, they've got that plus 1.5 in all 3 games against Detroit this season. Now it's not a huge sample size, but yeah, let me get Detroit. I think for them to win outright is at a good price here. And Detroit's on a 4-game losing streak. Maybe they're looking to bounce back here after the All-Star break. Once again, real close game for me to call here. And you'll find that more times than not. This may be your first time tuning in. Like, oh man, what does this guy like? Well, I like to give you guys a lot of information. Maybe you liked a specific team whenever you came onto this show. Maybe you heard some information that made you like that team some more, or made you stay away from that team. But personally, I'm okay with picking one spot and riding with that. I'm not too big into stacking plays, So if I can find one good spot per day or every other day or so, I'm happy with that. But so I am very selective in what I choose, and that's not to knock anybody down that does like to have a little bit of fun, and just wants to um, get lucky or whatever the case may be. We all have different styles of play, so I'm not here to knock you on your style of play at all. Just here to talk about some things that you may think is advantageous for you. And I'm always looking at numbers, seeing how I can, um, get ahead statistically. Because yeah, this stuff is not easy, guys. I mean, you guys know. Um, but yeah, give me what I say, Detroit here. Yeah, fair price, road favorite. They do rank eighth best in the league on the run line. I like that. That's the most favorable run line trend that I've seen. Now, what I will say, guys, is that Texas has had better success in that game that they played against Olsen earlier this year than Detroit does against Corbin. Do I really see an advantage for Detroit? Not really. I think I kind of see more advantages here for Texas now that I'm really looking at it. But um, I'm not. Let's go see if we can find something else. Twins against my Rockies. These teams haven't played each other this season. I mean, I guess I'll go to with Detroit in that game before, but uh, anyways, Twins at Rockies. Yeah, I'm not gonna call every game. That's just unreasonable. But I mean, I wouldn't. If you want to go with Texas too, I could definitely see that. Even Texas plus 1.5. Once again, they're 3-0 to that plus 1.5 against Detroit this season. If you like those heavily juiced run lines, okay. So um, the best run line trend I see here is Minnesota as a road favorite. They rank ninth best in baseball on that run line as a road favorite. The Rockies rank 30th on the run line after a loss and as a home underdog. So, as you know, this Colorado Rockies team is bad. There's a couple of guys today that I got my eye on for the Rockies. Moniak and Freeman and Goodman's not playing, so that's big. I'm not seeing Goodman in this starting lineup now for the Twins. Buxton, Willie Castro, Correa, Brooks Lee. I think you know I mean, we will continue to look at this game a little bit more, but like, I'm okay with taking the Twins here, and if I take the L, I take the L. Um, now the Rockies are 1-7 at home with Kyle Freeland this season, and they lost 5 of those games by 3+ runs. His average pitch count's about 82, 85 in his last 5 games. Rockies have a 26th ranked bullpen ERA. Minnesota is a below average as well. They rank 22nd. I do, especially with Goodman out, I like how Minnesota's bats match up much more against Freeland than the Rockies do against Paddock. Now, this ballpark does rank eighth best for left-handed hitting home runs. Eighth best for left-handed hitting home runs. Kyle Freeland's worse against right-handed hitters. What about Paddock? Really, there's probably nobody on my list other than like Free or Moniak for the Rockies to hit a home run today. Could somebody else for the Rockies hit a home run? Sure, but statistically looking at it, Moniak would be the guy for the Rockies, and then Um, they're playing in Colorado, man. I know what that I know that website says in the. I mean, I'm surprised they don't have the Coors Field in the top 10 for right-handed hitting home runs. Um, I just kind of want to double check that. Let me look where they do have the Rockies. I mean, Coors Field ranked 22nd on this list for right-handed hitters to hit home runs. So we're looking for a lefty. Let me just go look at Freeland against lefties real quick. Since 2023, man, 8, 16, 24, 32, 2. He's much worse off of righties than lefties. So what about the wind? Is it giving a little bit of extra carry out there? Not that I'm really seeing. Uh, I do like how Buxton, Castro, Correa, and Lee are hitting off of lefties this season. They're all batting 275 or better. They're all batting 241 or better off the four seam, which is Freeland's most used pitch. Minnesota's done a good game at preventing runs on the road. I think it could be a grimy win for Minnesota. I do have to lean towards Minnesota, not only getting the win, but on the run line. Could be a little grimy, but I think with Goodman being out, Minnesota to win this game by 2+ and even 3+ runs is doable. Now, uh, Minnesota is 3-7 on the road with Paddock starting, but two of those games that they won were by 4+ runs. And as we mentioned earlier, the Rockies are 1-7 at home with Freeland this season and lost 5 of those games by 3+ runs. So there you have it. And then for a home run hitter in this game, I'm thinking honestly Moniak. The Twins are stacked with right-handed hitting today. They have all righties. They have two switch hitters that should be batting right. Ooh, that someone's coming in. Sorry about that. It's that time of day. Yeah. So uh, even though I think Moniak might hit the has the best chance for a home run today, give me the Twins to win this game by 2, 3, heck, maybe even 4+ runs. Now, I do just want to cover like who I would think maybe because it has a decent chance for the Twins to hit a home run. This is at Coors Field, right? Um, so we're looking for a right-handed hitter. Buxton does have a home run and one at bat against Kyle Freeland throughout his career. I want to see, slugging percentage. The slugging percentage doesn't tell the full story, but it gives us an idea, right? Against Kyle Freeland's most used pitch, that four-seam fastball. So slugging percentage, and we're going to filter this to the Minnesota Twins. Uh, Jeffers, Lee. Now Lee, hold on. It's not looking like a whole lot of these from Lee were a home run. This source is really cool here. Buxton, it tells you everything that happened when a player put the ball in play on a four-seam fastball. Home run here for Buxton. Home run. I'm seeing some home runs for Buxton. Is Jeffers in? Ryan Jeffers has a better slugging percentage against that four seam. Now, once again, Freeland's pitch arsenal is a little bit more diverse than Paddock. So just because this guy does good off the four seam doesn't mean he couldn't throw another pitch and another twin have success on that. What's the second one? Hold on. Buxton and then curveball is the next most used pitch for Freeland. Curveball. Let's go to that slugging. We're getting Buxton high on that list again. What about the cutter? Slugging percentage for that cutter, which is Freeland's third most used pitch. Yeah, I mean, batting slugging 500. Give me Buxton. If you liked Buxton today, I could see it. Anyways, let's move on. If Goodman was in for the Rockies today, I would definitely give the Rockies a fighting chance. But statistically looking, I like the Twins here. All right, Cardinals. They're 3-0 against the Diamondbacks this season. The Cardinals won each of those 3 games by exactly 1 run. It is Eugenio Suarez's birthday, and this park ranks 7th best for right-handed hitters to hit home runs. So, I know Suarez is a righty, and he could hit a ding dong here off Palante today, possibly. Let's look into it here in just a second. Palante hasn't pitched against Arizona this season. The Cardinals are 5-4 with Palante on the road this season. Average pitch count about 90, not just throughout the season, but in his last 5. Palante also has worse batting average against right-handed hitters. Now, does he have a worse home run rate against right-handed hitters as well? It's about the same. So he's faced a few less batters since 2023, just 8 less batters, and they have the same amount of home runs. Um, he's thrown the same amount of home runs to lefties as well as to righties. His home runs per 9 innings is 1.3, 47% four seamer. So he throws that a lot. Who on the Diamondbacks are good at hitting that four seam fastball, slugging percentage wise? Marte, Suarez. Isn't Marte a switch hitter though? Doesn't even look like Marte's in the lineup today either. So let me delete this name off the list real quick. It's Palante versus Fott. And then let me just go through these starting lineups real quick. Naylor. Naylor. Suarez. I don't like the Diamondbacks lineup today. There were some names I had to delete off that list that I like to have here on players that I like. I like the Cardinals. I haven't had to delete any players off the Cardinals. Anyways, Naylor, Suarez, or Carroll. We were looking at right-handed hitting home runs here. Suarez, and then off the slider, I bet you Suarez is better than Carroll and Naylor. Off the slider, Suarez. It's his birthday. Right, this ranks the 7th best park on the park factors thing that we like to look at for right-handed hitting home runs. Just in case I haven't mentioned that, I just type in like part factors MLB in my search engine. One of the first things it brings up is baseball savant. So yeah, give me Suarez there. Okay. Fought has pitched at St. Louis. This one's in Arizona. St. Louis won that game by a run. Like we stated earlier, St. Louis has beat the Diamondbacks 3 times this season and won each of those games by 1 run. So Arizona's 5-4 at home with Fought this season. He has a worse batting average against left-handed hitters. Donovan, Burleson, Scott, I think look good today for the Cardinals batting average wise. All those guys are also hitting good off the four seamer, which he fought throws 31% of the time. Let's look at some of these other factors here. Runs per game. Arizona allows a lot of runs per game at home, but they score a lot of runs per game at home too. Cardinals are kind of middle in the pack in both of those departments. Cardinals have a much better bullpen ERA. Give me the Cardinals in this game. Give me the Cardinals in this game. Just like how their bats match up a little bit more. There were, like I said, there were a couple players that were out for Arizona that I kind of had my eye on, like Smith and Marte. Um, St. Louis is 3-0 against the Diamondbacks this season. Diamondbacks have a bad bullpen ERA compared to St. Louis's 13th ranked bullpen ERA, which is slightly above average. Arizona's also looks like they're favored to win this game. For run line trends, let me look. When the Cardinals are a road underdog, and let me just make sure that they're still a road underdog. Ooh, it's close. As an away dog, the Cardinals are 22-12 on that run line. As a home favorite, the Arizona Diamondbacks are below league average on that run line. I think you're getting Cardinals at a good price here. Moving on. Houston at Seattle. Houston's 4-3 against Seattle this season. How many? We got 2 games left. Houston at Seattle. Houston's 4-3 against Seattle this season. Houston won 2 of those games by 2+ runs. Seattle won 1 game by exactly 2 runs. Let's see. Walter is the projected starting pitcher for Houston today. Let me also just update that weather, see if we got anything else for that Padres and Washington game. I don't see anything. But Houston's starting lineup isn't out quite yet. But I do like, somewhat like what it's projected to be. I, I really don't. um, okay, so let's just go over some stuff here. Houston has 0 wins and 4 losses this season when Walter pitches on the road. He has a nice. Both of these bullpens are above average. Houston does have the better bullpen ERA. When it comes to stolen bases, Seattle has a major advantage, which makes me wonder what Walter's, walks per 9 inning average is. Base on balls per 9 inning average. It looks really good. Doesn't look like he walks too many people too often. He's only had 2 walks this season out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. So that takes Seattle's stolen base. They have a big stolen base advantage until you look at that. Um, it really just depends on Houston's starting lineup. Castillo pitched versus Houston on the 8th of April, and Houston won 2-1 in extras. So Castillo lost that game. He only allowed 5 hits. And then he pitched at Houston on 5/25. Houston won that game as well, 5-3. He did allow 9 hits in that one. This one's at the crib in Houston, or excuse me, in Seattle. He did better against Houston when he was in Seattle than when he traveled to Houston. Seattle's 5-5 with Castillo at home this season. Once again, like Houston's 0-4 with Walter on the road this season. So that right there makes me lean towards the Mariners getting this one. It really depends on this Houston lineup. Let me come back to this one and just see before I get off the air if they update that Houston game. But if Houston's gonna have the projected lineup that they have, I'm leaning towards and if you're with me on this, it's at rotowire.com. I'm waiting for them to update that projected starting lineup for Houston. Specifically, looking for guys like Pena, Myers, Altuve, Smith, Caratini to play um, or not play before I make a decision on that. That's why it's a little bit tougher once we get to these later games to decide on who I like. But I like how Seattle is looking today. Um, I'm not going to get into home run hitters just because, um, you know, the park factors doesn't list this as a ballpark that's great for home run hitting, but um, Walter is slightly worse against right-handed hitting in this one. So if you do like Kyle Raleigh, he might be batting left today, huh? Or excuse me, no, he should be batting right. Um, Kyle Raleigh, Williamson, and Raleigh and a Rosarena today. I could see him, getting hit, maybe a home run. Rosarena is batting 316 off that cutter, which is Walter's most used pitch, and then Cal Raleigh batting at 259. I like how Houston's batting average just matches up a little bit better, but once again, it just depends who starts in this game. Let me get to this last game. Found an interesting trend in this one. I think. Let me look at this, and then we'll wrap it up. But see, Milwaukee 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they're on a 7 game win streak. The Dodgers, they're 3-7 in their last 10. They're on a 2 game win streak. Now, Milwaukee is 3-0 against the Dodgers this season. I think they played them right before the All-Star break, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so I thought Quintana was pitching for Milwaukee today, but it looks like it's going to be Priester. And um, you know that really messes with the research that I did have, man, because with Quintana, I really like the Brewers plus 1.5, and even a win with Quintana. Uh, it changes a lot with Priester coming in here. I'm not as prepared for the Priester stuff, uh, the pitching, uh, uh, pitch arsenal and walk rate and stuff like that. But man, I really like the Brewers if Quintana played, and that doesn't necessarily mean I don't like the Brewers now. It's just I don't have as much information to go off with in regards to Milwaukee or in regards to the Dodgers against that. But we can look at it and just kind of freestyle here. But Glasnow pitched at Milwaukee on 7-9, and Milwaukee did win that game 3-2 in extra innings. Now Glasnow had a pretty good game. He he his walk rate I think is probably the highest today out of all the pitchers that are starting. 5.5 walks per 9 innings. And the Brewers are a good base stealing team. So I think the Brewers have a real good advantage uh, when it comes to the base stealing. Also, Glasnow is not pitching deep into games. His average pitch count is 62 in his last 5 games. So I could really see this 24th ranked Dodger bullpen ERA coming into play here. Um, Glasnow is worse against left-handed hitters. This is a great ballpark, from my understanding, for left-handed hitting and right-handed hitting home runs. Now, what's Glasnow's home run per 9 inning average? 1.6, which is on the higher side of what I've kind of looked at today. So if you like a home run hitter today for the Brewers on either side of the plate, I could definitely see that happening. Um, Man, we got some games started already, huh? The White Sox are up 3-0 against Pitt. I think I was leaning towards the White Sox plus 1.5 in that one, if I'm not mistaken. Cool. I know it was close. If not, it's all good. I may have said, "Hey, I like Pittsburgh here." I don't think that came. I don't think those words came out of my mouth. I'll have to go back and watch the replay. But either way, I didn't love that game, But I do try to get these games right. Um, so let's get back to the matter at hand here. Glasnow. Does anybody have any history off him? Looks like Jake Bowers has a home run off him. Is he even starting? Yeah, left-handed hitter Jake Bowers for Milwaukee has a home run off of him. But I'm not as interested in history. I'm more interested in what's going on with other numbers. So four-seam fastball, Glasnow pitches 43% of the time. So that's a heavily used pitch for Glasnow. So I want to filter this, by the four-seam fastball, Dodgers update, slugging percentage, Brewers, slugging percentage for Brewers against that four-seamer. Looks like we got Hoskins. I don't like Hoskins' batting average. He's got to connect too, right? I would Yelich. Yelich has 17 home runs as a left-handed hitter versus right-handed pitching this season. I would say Yelich is my favorite home run hitter in this game, at least for the Brewers. Yelich, and then Churio, I would say. hmm Yeah, Yelich and then Churio. And then let's just look into the Priester's stuff here. He's been he's been kind of going deeper into games than Glasnow. 86 pitches on average in his last 5 games. So Milwaukee's bullpen, as we mentioned, is a little below average, but it is better than the Dodgers. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Brewers starting pitcher go into the game a little bit deeper than the Dodgers starting pitcher. Um, I think in my notes here I like Otani to get a home run, shocker, and then it would be Freeman and then Smith. Otani, Freeman, and then Smith. I think that had to do with like slugging percent. Oh, that was off of scratch that. That was off of Quintana. So against Priester, what's his like? He's got a his home run per 9 inning rate isn't terrible. His walks per 9 inning rate isn't terrible. These guys really haven't seen him unless Conforto's in the lineup. Conforto has 3 at bats against Priester. It doesn't look like anybody else in the starting lineup has any history against him. So that could be challenging for the Dodgers. What else did I want to look at? His pitch arsenal. Priester pitch arsenal. 43% sinker. So who on the Dodgers, if I were to pick a home run hitter, I'm sure it's going to be Shohei Ohtani. Uh, it was Muncy, but I think Muncy's still injured. Yeah. So uh, Ohtani, Freeman. And what are they batting against? What hand does Priester pitch with? Right hand? Home runs. Hodges has 14 home runs off of right-handed batters or hitters, or excuse me, right-handed pitchers. And he's batting 431 slugging percentage. So, once again, I was expecting the Dodgers to go up against a lefty today, not a righty. So I'm a little unprepared for this part of it. Um, Shohei has 26 dingers. If you like Shohei to get a home run tonight, I could definitely see that. So I'll just leave it at that. As far as who I'd like to win this game, I mean, like I said, it's a little bit more difficult for me to. I really liked the Brewers plus 1.5 if Quintana was pitching. They were a perfect 7-0 to the plus 1.5 in some sort of a situation that they were in tonight. So that's a little disheartening that he's not starting. But I don't know. My information isn't as good as I want it to be for this game. I do. If you like Milwaukee tonight, I think they have some. We talked about it. I think they got a lot of good things going for them. I think obviously the Dodgers are going to match up pretty well against Priester. They're kind of slumping right now a little bit. Milwaukee's been hot. Maybe the All-Star break, Dodgers turn things around. They are on a 2-game win streak. Are they? Felt like they were. Felt like right before the All-Star break they played. It was a series before, so I guess they beat the Giants in a couple games right before the All-Star break. Um, Just give, I guess, give me the Brewers, but uh, anyways. Now there are still good things, right, offensively for the Brewers that they have, like uh, this Glasnow guy walks a lot. I think there could be some runs in this game. If you like runs being scored in this game, I could see that happening. Um, Glasnow walks a lot of guys, and Milwaukee not only draws a lot of walks, but they're good at base stealing. They rank second in stolen bases per game. Dodgers are about average when it comes to base stealing prevention. So I think Milwaukee's going to get theirs. It's just, are the Dodgers going to counter against Priester? Well, before we take off, I do want to look at two things here. One is the weather, and I'm not seeing any postpones or anything like that. Um, or delays. I don't think quite yet. Let me look. Yeah, I don't see anything. I'm looking at rotogrinders.com. Um, Still has that Padres and Nationals game. Just kind of iffy, and it looks like they're playing right now, right? Um, is it 1-0 Padres? I want to see who's doing what in these games real quick. And then let me look to see if that Houston lineup has been announced, and then we'll get going. I'll make an announcement when the next show will be. I'm not sure if I'll do one tomorrow or not. Robert, Bennett, Cindy, Caro. I believe I was mentioning those guys earlier in the show. So looks like those guys did pretty good for the Sox here. Let me see what the baseball slate looks like tomorrow. And let me see if that lineup's been confirmed yet for Houston. Yes, okay. So Pena out. Myers out. Altuve in. He's in. He's in. Okay. Um. Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about with that Houston game, their starting pitchers 0-4. Houston is 0-4 this season when he's pitching on the road. So I would have really had to have something for me to like Houston in that game. For me to pick Houston in that game, and I had to delete a couple players from my list. Still gonna still go with Seattle here, but anyways, Houston does have the third ranked best bullpen ERAs. Seattle 11th. Stolen bases per game. Once again, I think if Seattle can get on base, they can swipe some bags. Um, but I'd also look to see, typically we've talked about this. Typically, it's tougher to steal off of left-handed pitchers, which Walter is. So I would maybe try to look up how many. I think base stealing could be a big factor in this game. So I would maybe look up to see, how many stolen bases he's allowed this season, Walter. And I could probably find that real quick. Um, Maybe stolen bases. Oh, I don't know. But if you're interested in that game, that's what I would do. Oh, it looks like he's allowed 3 stolen bases this year. How many games has he played? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think he could still go up some stolen bases in this one. Yeah, give me Seattle. Anyways, okay, so yeah, my favorite plays today are probably going to be Minnesota Twins -1.5 against my Colorado Rockies. Um, I may have mentioned some other stuff earlier in the show. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But I also like Toronto Blue Jays today. I'm the money line is cool. I know it may be a little juiced. Nothing's a guarantee, right? Um, is it already the bottom half of that inning? Because I'm thinking it is. Yeah, it is the bottom half of that inning. And I mentioned that earlier in the show. Now the line is at -170 something, last I saw. But you know, I could see Toronto possibly winning this by 2+. Um, anyways, I guess out of the games that haven't started left are, Minnesota Twins, but it doesn't take, um, it doesn't take a whole lot of guts to pick Minnesota, but hey, that's what I'm going with. I was going with Toronto earlier, and I think I said Phillies. Those were probably my 3 top plays today. Anyways, thank you guys for joining. I'll let you know when that next show will be. Let me just look at tomorrow's schedule. Once again, if you guys have any comments or questions during the show, feel free to let me know. Sometimes I get too focused in on those comments, though. I kind of just like talking about what I've been talking about. Like I said, I always think about ways to improve the show. This is my 5th show that I've done for baseball this season. I think the first one went good. Second one, I think, was bad. Third one was great. Fourth one was good. And this is my 5th one. So, hey, good luck to you guys. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me just once again look at this baseball schedule that we have for tomorrow. Let me see if I have, some time to do a show. Saturday, July 19th. When do the bulk of the games start? Tomorrow night. It is a possibility that we have a show tomorrow and or Sunday morning. I'll make an announcement, but I would count on at least one of those days, if not both. All right. Well, thanks again for joining, guys. Good luck today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. This is the Not Move podcast, and I am Better Bettors. Take care.